Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to have a little chat about some more Psychic Awakening stuff and what we can reasonably expect to see, given that there was a little trailer dropped yesterday, I believe. And you can see what's in the trailer because it should be playing pretty much now, provided I've remembered to edit it in. And there's some interesting stuff in there. We've got the little spinny disc that shows a bunch of Eldari factions, which no doubt covers the first phase of Psychic Awakening, and the Blood of the Phoenix box being a good representation of that. And then you've got the other spinny disc that's got a whole load of other factions in there. So we can see that there's Salamanders and Iron Warriors and Emperor's Children and World Eaters and Black Templars and Astra Militarum and Sisters of Battle and Alpha Legion, and there's a whole load of combatants in that particular little spinny thing. It does linger on the Black Templars for a little bit, but there is also a lot of other stuff in there, and a lot of the stuff that I'm being sent, a lot of the stuff that I'm reading elsewhere, kind of suggests that this is not going to be the big update to Black Templars that everyone is hoping for. Really, for Black Templars to be properly kind of supported, we need slightly more than what we have from the Primaris range, especially. If we assume that Games Workshop are not going to release kind of updated standard Marines anymore, Black Templars' whole shtick of being frontline crusaders, of having things like Sword Brethren and Neophytes, all of that kind of falls apart in the face of the Primaris. And really, to have a proper update to Black Templar stuff, we could kind of do with having some actual close combat options for Primaris. The thing is, the timing does not strike me as being great for that, because we currently have just had a fairly big, and by fairly big I mean pretty damn big, release in the form of the new Space Marines Codex and the supplements that have come after it. Now yeah, granted, it was a couple of months ago now, but still, it seems very unlikely that they're suddenly going to throw a whole new type of Primaris at us that soon after the Codex has dropped. I mean, we're still only just seeing the release of the Impulsor and the Infiltrators. You know, the pre-orders for that have only just gone up. Seems unlikely to me that we will suddenly get a whole bunch of new Primaris with chainswords, which is what we really want. I think, to be honest, when it comes to releases for the Psychic Awakening stuff, we've already seen the vague pattern that we'll probably end up getting for everything that gets an actual model update, and not everything will. I mean, the stuff that I've been told so far is that Black Templars, they're not even going to get an updated Emperor's Champion. We're just not even going to get that. It's not even a case of a Primarist version of that model. It's just not going to happen. Which kind of sucks, to be totally honest with you. But while Psychic Awakening would be a fun way to do a big faction update, I don't think Games Workshop is going to do that. It's a similar story for the World Eaters and the Emperor's Children. I've seen a few people already say, oh, well, they've mentioned World Eaters and Emperor's Children. I mean, does that mean new Berserkers? Does that mean new Noise Marines? It could do. There's a chance, but I suspect that they would save that for an actual full Codex release. And I don't know if they're going to do a full Codex release in tandem with Psychic Awakening. It'd be... I don't know if this is the right analogy. It would kind of be like releasing two codexes at the same time if you did the second book and an individual codex straight after at the same time. There's already a lot of rules stuff and adjustments and things going on in those books as it is. Would they do both? I don't know. I'm leaning towards probably not. It would be nice to see a whole new bunch of stuff for Emperor's Children and World Eaters. They need their codexes to bring them in line with the Death Guard and the Thousand Suns. We need to have all four Chaos Gods properly represented with their chosen legions, their chosen traitor Space Marines. But I don't know if that's going to happen right now, and I don't know if that's going to happen when there's so much focus on so many other things. The Psychic Awakening is being touted as something where there's going to be a bunch of updates for a load of different factions. As such, it seems kind of unlikely that there'd be a massive focus on Emperor's Children or World Eaters, and unfortunately it seems like it's a bit unlikely that there'd be a massive focus on the Black Templars as well. I think we've already seen vaguely the pattern that we might get for any any armies that are going to get like a partial update in the form of the Incubi that we got for Dark Eldar and Drazar, and Janezar and the Howling Banshees. It would be nice to see all the Aspect Warriors updated, but I don't know if we will, or at least not for a while now. Those two forces had their partial updates, and they had stuff in that first book. I think the same is going to apply to the next book and the one after, where if a faction does get an like a small update, it will be in the form of a unit and a hero, or maybe just a hero, maybe just a unit. It's not going to be anything massive and sweeping. It would be great if Black Templar suddenly had a full codex, a full supplement, that had, all of their individual stuff in, and we got model releases supporting that. But I don't know if they do that at the same time. And everything I'm reading and everything I'm hearing, everything like people are telling me, suggests that that's not going to be the case. Psychic Awakening feels more like a small update to a lot of factions as opposed to a big update to a couple of factions. The only exception to that would be, I think, the Sisters of Battle. But the Sisters of Battle have been an ongoing project. They've been an ongoing development for a long time now. They might have tied the releases together to match quite nicely, that the Sisters of Battle would be heavily involved in the Psychic Awakening, along with every other faction. But their update has been planned for a while. It's not something that's been brought about by this campaign. It's something that coincides nicely with it. To be honest, if we do see updates for this stuff, for both Black Templars, for Emperor's Children, for World Eaters, I don't think it's going to be anything massive. It's going to be something minimal. And if we do see releases for those factions, it is possible that they'd follow the same pattern that we've seen already from the Eldar and Dark Eldar update, that we would get those kind of small upgrades. But it seems more likely to me that those upgrades would hit with a full-on codex release, not just be thrown out partway through the campaign. I would like them to show up. We need new Berserkers, we need new Noise Marines badly. Both of those things are showing their age severely at this point. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's unlikely that we'll get vast replacements for stuff from this campaign. I think it's going to be smaller, more incremental things, and everything that I've seen from Black Templars, that seems to support that, provided the information I'm being given is accurate. Obviously, it might well not be. In a way, I kind of hope it isn't, and we do see something bigger, but that seems to be the way it's heading, and that seems to be the attitude I think it's worth going into this second book with. It would be great if Black Templars got a supplement. It would be great if there was a sudden burst of models that brought Primaris into their style of fighting. I just don't see that happening this time round, and I think it's far more likely that we'll see some lore updates, we'll see some rule changes, we'll see some updates in that form, but a big old release, bringing them back to full power, to full strength, the equivalent of like Imperial Fists or Salamanders or White Scars, Raven Guard supplements, I don't think that's likely. And because that's not likely, I don't think it's likely that we'll see the same thing for, World Eaters, Emperor's Children, or any of the others. Small updates all round is what I'm reading from all of this. So yeah, I don't know. Psychic Awakening is interesting, and it could be good, the rest of it, but small updates to a lot of factions, I think, probably will just leave most people wanting more as opposed to feeling like they got something to begin with. I know there's already there's already dissatisfaction with the way the updates to Eldar and Dark Eldar were handled. Blood of the Phoenix was an expensive box, and those units have needed updating for quite some time. So it's kind of felt a bit off. It's felt a bit weird. It's like, here you go, here's the thing, but that's all you're getting for now, and you need to pay an absolute premium for it. Also leads me to wonder, should we get another box? Which, so far, I've not seen anything to suggest we will, whether it would follow a similar thing of new, needed models packaged with stuff that, frankly, is not in a great spot and is not actually worth the price right now. Because if that becomes a pattern, that is going to impact things even more than stuff only getting small updates and no models at all. We'll have to see. Be interesting to keep an eye out and see if anything changes with regards to this, because right now it really doesn't look like anyone's going to get anything major, which is kind of upsetting. But then again, we are a little way out from the second book and the possibility of anything being released with it, and nothing is concrete. So whilst it might be best to go in with a little bit of caution, things might be different. Be nice if they were. Anyway, let me know what you think of all of that in the comments down below. Do you reckon there is a chance of a massive update for Black Templars, for World Eaters, for Emperor's Children? Do you think it is just going to be small things? Do you think that we would see new Berserkers, new Noise Marines released without a codex supporting them? Or do you think they'll be saved for something bigger? What do you think the chances are of a massive event in the third phase of Psychic Awakening? Because if we are going to see something huge, I'm assuming that's where it would be. The build-up would be part of it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games. If you click it and buy something, I get something for saying it that way. You save between 15 and 25% off whatever you buy, which is everything. They stock a vast amount of stuff. And 10% of all of that at the end of the month will go to charity. So, nice way to support the channel, do a little bit of something extra, and requires no effort. So you can do that if you would like. I leave it entirely up to you. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Toodaloo.